Hi everyone, I want to talk about a pretty huge change that has gone mostly overlooked by a lot of people, I believe, and that is actually pretty huge for pet builds going forward. This is a permanent change, and what we discovered early in the PTR is that pets were able to proc Oculus Rings now from your follower. So the way this typically worked was that when you push solo, you don't get Oculus Rings on these builds on, let's say, N6, M4 with the sentries, or Zunimasa with the fetishes, or even the inner monk with the Wonkamlau version. But now you actually do. So later in the PTR they actually explicitly mentioned that as a bug fix in the patch notes. So I actually wonder if this was ever a bug or if this was just like a deliberate change at this point. But here we are, and I went on the PTR and tested every single pet that I could think of for every single class, and it works. Oculus Rings are obviously very important, especially in solo pushing, and them not working there was kind of a huge deal for some of these builds. This didn't really matter that much for the overall balance of some of the builds, but it is definitely a nice bonus to have and will probably lift up almost every single pet build by around 3 tiers in the future. 3 tiers is around 60% monster HP. The Oculus Ring gives you 85% bonus, but it's not 100% up, and it also has a bit of an opportunity cost by walking into it and these kind of things. There were actually some builds in the past that actually included an Oculus Ring in their setup. For example, LoD Darts did that quite often, at the higher end at least, when you didn't need the Unity anymore. And also LoD Wave of Light, which now also doesn't need to drop the Unity for an Oculus Ring, which is something that people were doing at the very high end once you were able to survive with enough Paragons. So now you get them for free, now you don't have to worry about it anymore. Another interesting build that profits from this quite a lot this patch is actually Helltooth Gargantuans, which overall gets one of the biggest boosts of the entire patch, because not only did it get this Oculus change, but also the Ring of Emptiness works for Gargantuans now, which is probably another 6 tiers buff or something like that. And they have the Dregs of Light's Soul Shard being a pet build, which again is the most powerful gem in the entire game next season. So this build alone goes up by like 20 tiers or something. In any case, it's pretty cool that pet builds finally get the same treatment as other builds, and this is a quite important change that you will have to watch out for in the future now. I believe that the power level of builds could always be adjusted even without this change, but I think that playing around Oculus Rings also makes pushing a bit more dynamic, and especially pet builds that don't really have that much stuff going on most of the time. This will make it more interesting overall. So that's my 2 cents about this change. Just wanted to draw some attention to that because it's actually quite important, and it was kind of just a little note somewhere in the bug fixes that most people probably didn't even see. So there you are. Hope you enjoyed this little video, and I'll see you guys next time.